Hello, guys. Yes, you're welcome once again to another presentation, another presentation lesson. Yes, this lesson will focus on the aspect of system design, system analysis and design. Okay, which brings us to a part whereby how do you, as a person, what processes takes place in designing a given system? Okay, that is what it's all about. So, this lesson takes have this lesson objectives, lesson outcomes. And one of them is describe the six phase of system life cycle, and on to describing prototyping, rapid application development, and that is it. So, very important. Most people in organization are, are involved in the information system of different kinds, of some kind. Yeah, the smartphone you're using is element of information system. The computer you're using for to watch desktop or to watch these videos is element of information system. Much more in an organization that is there to make profit, and non-government organization and government as well, private and public. They are all there using information system across different platform departments for different reasons. For organization to create and use system, it requires a thought and effort. Now, you now as a student, which will be your own boss, working for people, working for an organization. Now, um, your ability to deploy this kind of system, information system that will help you to drive your organizational goal, as we saw in in lesson 10, involve a thorough effort and thought process. So in this chapter, we're going to learn the six steps process for performing system analysis and design. Here are they. A system is defined as a collection of activities and elements organized to accomplish a goal. Now, a system, a computer system involves different elements, different packages, different activities, different things you need to do, from your input of data to the process of that very data, which all gets together towards you achieving a particular objective to take the company from point A to point B. Now, the system analysis and design have six phases of problem-solving procedure for examining and improving an information system. So that is how the thought process that takes place, that you as a person will undergo before you start buying. Remember, in one of the lessons I mentioned that a company do not just spend for spending sake. They spend on buying these technological devices in order to effect change. And that change involves this kind of process as well. What do you do before you can uh, make your decision? Okay, this sixth phase involve preliminary investigation, which deals with the problem definition, suggesting alternative and preparing short report on what the the problem that this system is going to solve, the issue that you think is going to solve, and all the rest of them, the problem in place, and the system analysis, which gathers the data, analyze the data, and then document the process, right? You document whatever you have found, you have found through your analysis. The system analysis design, which involves design alternatives, select best alternative, write report, and so on and so. And then development is with the develop the software, the acquired hardware, test the system implementation, convert and train, and then system maintenance, perform system audit, evaluate periodically. Now, in your primary stage of your system life cycle, this is process, which involves you gathering information, data to determine, do we really need to buy new? And this should be this is a thought process. We have existing system now, and now you get a report as a manager in your company saying that we need a new system. You don't just go and buy. You need to do what? To make an preliminary investigation to determine if actually the system is needed or not. So for this to happen, there is a need for you to identify the problem, define the problem, identify the problem, determine the problem that is really in place. Why the proposal for a new system is in place before you, and then weigh alternative. Do we buy, or do we repair the system, or do we hire, right? And then you write that report. Is okay, which will lead to the analysis. Okay, look at what we have found out on the problem. Look at the solutions, which is alternative that is in place, and that comes through what report you're going to present to the next level of the management. Then also on the second phase, the system analysis, which collects data about the present system and analyze it to determine the new requirement. Okay, you have done the preliminary investigation. What do? You analyze it, right? That you gather data, analyze the data, and create summary of the entire process of whatever you have found in your data. The phase two also provide a thorough analysis which used to identify the top level component of a complex system. Each component is broken down into smaller components, making analysis very easier. How do you achieve that? You have a great chart showing the relationship between what was inputted and the output. And then your flow chart will be able to guide you to show what the process entails, right? Which involves you trying to understand the problem more deeper. So, okay, the flow chart of this issue problem that we have found out, look at how the problem is, look at the effect of this problem, look at different options that are available for us, and then for you to be able to say, okay, this is what we have come out in the problem, okay? So your grade chart looks like this. Your time sheet, your telephone log, your travel log, and all the rest of them. Your flow chart, this is how it is, right? The flow chart shows the flow of inputs data to processing and the final outcome of this or distribution of information. This lets you to have a holistic idea of the problem, of the need to the new system or not. Okay. The third one on the system design, which have three phases tasks you need to perform. Define the alternative. Now, remember in the previous one, there was a proposed alternative. Look at, let's say let's buy a new system. Let's say the alternative becomes, remember it's an existing system. Instead of fixing it, let's buy. Now you weigh that option of buying. And within this buying, where do we buy it from? Which product do we buy? Select the best, select the best system. Which product among the range of products that are available, which one do we can really give us the best? And then you write a report on that. So evaluate the system according to economic viability. Ask a new system to be economically viable. If now we say we're gonna buy, do we have the money? The technical feasibility or visibility asks, is it technically possible? Now, do we have the technical know-how? If let's say we buy to manage the system, operational variability, how it will be received by all users. Now, if IT guys are well equipped with knowledge to deploy this system, right? What about the staff, the end users? Are they prepared to use this new system? So these are the kind of options you weigh in your system design, right? So now we have under system development, we have three steps, right? Acquire the software, acquire the hardware, test the system. Now you remember we say we're gonna buy. When you buy the software, you also need to buy the hardware that will match into the software. Or the hardware and the software comes together as a package. And when if whether you buy hardware and software separately, or you buy it as as a complete set, you need to test it. Is it compatible? Is it gonna be compatible to the existing system? Now, some of you have heard that the university deployed new information system, student information system. These are the processes that they undergo from the preliminary stage down to these are the phases that was considered before deploying this new information system, student information system. Now, the fifth phase also deals with on the system implementation or conversion. Now, these have different types. Now, remember, because we're looking at we're gonna buy, we have started that we're gonna buy a new system. Now, how do we deploy this system into existing system? These are the thought process that should take place. Do we do direct conversion, which out with the old system and in with a new one? Total replacement of the old system. As soon as by the time we have designed or purchased the new one, we deploy it. We phase out the old one. That is direct conversion. And then parallel, the old and the new will operate side by side. So now we say, okay, fine, let's do parallel deployment implementation. Let the old system exist, the new system exist. Remember, there was a thought process about the technical know-how, even the end users experience in using the system, because people are not really will not be good with this system. Let's give it a time. Let's deploy the old, let's deploy the new. Right? Giving the old maybe 1 year or some time to run, and then from there we can now switch totally to the new one. So by that time, you see, okay, both of them will be running side by side, okay, and then gradual conversion into the new system. We do also what we call pilot testing. New system is tried by one section of the organization, then another section. Instead of okay deploying it totally into the entire organization. So, okay, fine. Let this new system, for example, this new information system, be only be used by first years. Then second semester, we go to the second year. Next year, we go to the third year, right? And then on and on and on. That is what a pilot testing. So when sectional part of the company uses it, then you then you roll it out to the next department, to the next section, on and on till it's being rolled out to the entire organization. Now, phase system is introduced bit by bit, little by little. Instead of phasing out the entire system, what do? You roll it out in phase. We're gonna start phasing out with the system with, let's say, with admission before taking it to the next level. Let's say for capturing of marks, or for you viewing your marks and all those kind of things. So we can use it. Okay, let's use it for just to register new students, for students to register. And when for application, when you apply to the system. So instead of filling in papers, right, forms, you do it online. So that is the phase one. After that, we're gonna roll another phase whereby the system determines who qualified to be admitted or not, and that is how the conversion runs. The sixth phase goes with what? Maintenance, system maintenance. System maintenance is an ongoing activities. It doesn't end there. So as soon as the system is being deployed, whether old or new, there is always a need for maintenance to take place, which happen in two parts. System audit. The system performance is compared to the original design spreadsheet to determine its productivity. Now because we have decided to buy a new system, right? Which was we are told that this system does 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? So when the system is rolled out, there's a need for auditing to know, okay, does it really perform as was initially stated, right? And periodic evaluation, all systems should be evaluated time to time to check if it's really providing expected benefit. Like I said, and I'm saying it again, that companies invest in these systems for what? For the purpose of achieving uh, productivity, efficiency, and so on and so forth. So they test it against what they want to achieve. If actually the system provide that. Okay. So there's an element of prototyping and rapid application development. Alternative to system life cycle, if you have those 6 phases, right? Now, another alternative is for prototyping. Prototyping, build a model of a new system for a trial. This is what some companies do. Now, they build a system, they give it to you as end user to try. Now, by the time you use it, you give feedback, and then they look at that very feedback to improve what they have provided to you. Some call it a beta version, right? I don't know if you have heard about it, right? VETA version of a system. So you use it and then get feedback. And then also rapid development, application development, which costs costly, but development in short and quality is better. This is another alternative to system life cycle, whereby development is done as quickly as possible, right? Which this one kind of we need this system. This is what we need, specifications we need from this system. You're doing design immediately, and then within a short within a given period of time. Okay, and that is what we have. Okay, in this presentation, this lesson. So now remember that every chapter has its own lesson, has its own career you can build out of it. The career that can build out of this lesson is for system analysis, which plan and design new system, right? Following system life cycle. You see, so this lesson itself can prepare one in the field of what? Being a system analyst. And the salary range between 50 to 64,000 USD with degree in information system or computer science, even any related field. What do we see from here into the future and the challenges of keeping pace, right? What we see is to stay competitive with today's fast business pace. New technologies must be incorporated. Like today, we're looking at what generative AI is doing, like your ChatGPT is doing today. That is what we can see and go into the future, and then we can be seeing increase in use of prototyping instead of going through. Remember, system development life cycle, it has its own disadvantage, right? Which involves a longer time to be implemented when prototyping or rapid application development can be much more faster. So there will be an increase on what outsourcing, whereby instead of a company building their system internally, they will use off-shelf system, whereby system that is already being built, let's say in a different environment, country, different places, they just buy it as a package and deploy it into their environment company. Now, these open-ended questions, remember, they're all geared towards you using them to evaluate yourself and to determine how your level of preparedness or your competency in the section, in the lesson. Okay, that is it. Thank you so much, guys. Please remember, if you have any question, feel free to call on me, and then very important, send your questions, and so we can deal with it, and also share and subscribe. Thank you so much.